I'm Tani from unraveledmotherhood.com, and today I wanted to talk about packing the perfect, I feel like I have lint on my mouth. The perfect hospital bag. So this video is specifically for advice for packing a hospital bag, not necessarily a list. If a list is something you're looking for, I'm planning to make one eventually, but I haven't made one yet. So I'll keep you posted. If I do write a blog post, I'll stick it in the description below, and then if that's something that you'd like a video for, please comment below and let me know. My first piece of advice for packing your hospital bag is to figure out what your hospital provides. So a lot of times the hospital will provide certain things. For example, the hospital I went to provided a gown, which is typical, but they also provided diapers for the baby, wipes for the baby, pads for me. So see what your hospital provides. You can either talk to a friend. Sometimes that changes, so I would just call your hospital or talk to your OB or whoever you're planning to birth with and ask them what the hospital provides, because you don't really want to have a bag full of pads if you don't need to. Me personally, I don't like having lots of extra stuff because it kind of just overwhelms me, and I'm just a messy person already, so I just want it simple and as minimal as possible. So that's my first tip, is know what your hospital provides, and then don't bring those things unless you want a specific thing, like you might want an adult diaper. Some people really like adult diapers for after giving birth. Then that's something you're going to pack if your hospital doesn't provide it, which most of them I think just provide pads. My next piece of advice is to know yourself. Know thyself. Who says that? No, Socrates? Yeah, Plato. Sorry to the professor that taught, what's it called? I can't even think of what it's called. Philosophy. Okay. Know yourself. Know what kind of person you are. So I spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos when I was first pregnant. Even with all my pregnancies, I really enjoy watching labor and delivery hospital bag videos, things like that, checklists. And it's really fun to watch, and it's really interesting to see what people recommend and all these things, but just know who you are and know what part of you is actually you and what part of you is just like the person you would like to be, or you kind of have this dream of being. Just be real and honest with yourself. So for example, when you watch a lot of these YouTube packing hospital bag videos, a lot of them bring some makeup or have some makeup bag, and they say like, oh, well, I usually like to do my makeup, or I just don't feel myself without makeup. And so they say, oh, I just want a little bit, just some mascara, just some essentials. Okay, if you are like me, for example, right now I'm not wearing any makeup, and you don't wear makeup all the time, you don't put on makeup unless you make time for it, or you don't really care that much if you wear makeup, after you give birth, you are likely not going to be doing any extra steps. It is not going to be a spa day. You're not going to finally want to do a face mask and paint your nails. That's just not what happens after you give birth. You're tired. You just gave birth. You're going to want the most simplest ways to feel yourself. For me, putting on makeup doesn't make me feel like myself. Actually, a lot of times it makes me feel uncomfortable. My eyes get irritated because my pterygium and all that stuff. If you are the type of person that likes to wear makeup, bring some makeup. It'll make you feel more like yourself. If you're like me and you don't really wear makeup very often, or your version of putting on makeup is at the stoplights in traffic, then maybe don't bring any makeup. Don't make this daydream idea that you're all of a sudden going to be an Instagram mom and you're going to post these cutesy postpartum pictures and have this whole setup if you're not that type of person. Know who you are, and don't try to change yourself for your ideal hospital birth because that's what people recommend. If you like a certain thing, sure, bring it, pack it. But if you are just not really drawn to it, but a lot of people recommend it, like a fancy robe, you don't need a fancy robe to have a nice hospital birth. You don't need it. It might be something you enjoy. This time around with my youngest, I got a little robe. I liked having that because I'm lazy and it's easy to cover up in and all that kinds of stuff, and I kind of wanted it for postpartum. But just think about what you would like. You don't need a matching robe with your baby. You really don't. So know yourself and pack for yourself, not for your like idealistic self. What's really you, what's really important to you, and pack for that. On that same line, less is more. Space in your hospital bag. So the less you pack, the more space you're gonna have in your hospital bag. It's less to carry, it's less to haul around, it's less to rummage through if you have less things. So on the same line of if you should bring makeup, just remember, like, if you don't wear something while you're not pregnant or while you're pregnant, the chances are is you're not gonna wear it all of a sudden in the hospital just for a photo op or something like that. You're not going to feel really cute. You're not going to feel super posy or anything like that. So just don't bring anything that you normally wouldn't use, wear, do, if that makes sense. So just let that space be, and you can use it for something that you actually do use, you actually do wear. If you find yourself looking at something and be like, well, if I have an opportunity and the nurse is able to take a picture and all these different, and all these stars have to align for you to wear this certain outfit, then don't bring that. If there's something that you feel comfortable in, bring that. And know that when you're postpartum, you're not gonna go back to your pre-pregnancy size. You're gonna still be like in your maternity clothes, so, or loose clothes. So pack for your maternity self. There's gonna be plenty of time to take cute photos, and the hospital doesn't have to be that time. Basically, my point with this one is just pack the necessities. So what are necessities? Well, necessities for me look like snacks and entertainment. So snacks, entertainment, and that's basically it. Obviously, you need to figure out what you need for postpartum if your hospital doesn't provide it. But snacks and entertainment are the biggest ones that you're probably gonna want. So the food at the hospital might not be great, and they probably won't have snacks you want. For me, I just really wanted those little like fruit leather from Costco's, those little, I don't know, they're like 3 layers. I just like pounded a bunch of those after I gave birth, and I pounded some other stuff. I don't even remember. But snacks are going to be good for your birth partner also, or doula, or whoever is there with you. And then for yourself, after you give birth and during birth, you're probably going to be hungry. You might want snacks to have. And so packing snacks that you know you love, that are easy to open and get to, and just to have on hand, because hospitals serve meals at certain times, and of course you can go buy meals, but nobody wants to spend money on hospital food. That's my thinking. So bring snacks. The second thing is, which I should have done more of, well, it was okay, is entertainment. So I brought some books, and I wish we brought like another game to play, me and my husband. I mostly just read and rested, really. So bring some sort of entertainment for yourself. If you're a big like Netflix or show person, then bring some sort of device to watch shows on, because it can be a lot of waiting as you're in the hospital room. After you give birth, a lot of hospitals want you to stay 48 hours just so they can monitor you and the baby. Or is it 40? 24 hours? So you're gonna have to kill time unless you're sleeping the whole time, which is probably not likely. You're gonna need to kill time. So bring something to kill time. Bring the things that you like to do when you have downtime. So again, with the necessities, this depends on the type of person you are. So some people mock other people for bringing a pillow, like their own pillow to sleep on. If you are the type of person who doesn't sleep well without your specific pillow, it's not silly to bring your own pillow. I'm gonna put that in now.
No, you're not. You better not.
At the end.
You better not.
YouTube. Okay. Okay, some people think it's really silly to bring your own pillow to the hospital. And for me, that probably would be silly. But if you're the type of person who can't sleep without your specific pillow or without your specific blanket, then bring it. It's not silly because you're going to want to get good rest after you give birth. It's very tiring and it's called labor for a reason. So bring something that makes you comfortable. Bring things. It's a necessity if you need it to function properly in your everyday life. And then from there, you can add a few things that you kind of want to add, but just be real with yourself, right? Then my next tip is to talk to your support person or your spouse. So make sure you have a conversation with your spouse and talk to him about what he's bringing, what you want to bring, and that's a good indicator of if something is excessive or something is, something you actually are going to use. So just talk it over with him. If it's something you're iffy about, maybe you can ask him, do you think I need this? And they'll either talk you into it or talk you out of it, and that way you'll feel better about your decision that you made. But also just making sure that they have their backpack, making sure they have whatever they need. Once labor starts, you don't want to be packing for them and trying to figure out what they have, it'll make it easier when you know he's responsible for bringing this, I'm responsible for bringing this. Maybe he's responsible for bringing the chargers for your phone and computer or whatever it is, and you're gonna bring whatever. So just talk it over with whoever's going to be with you and make sure you have enough between the both of you. You probably don't need 2 tubes of toothpaste, but you do need 2 toothbrushes. So just things like that. And then for me, there's things like toothbrushes and chargers that I know I'm going to have to get last second. I like to make a list and put it like, I've taped it like by the front door before. Just because in a rush you don't want to be forgetting something. So that's something you can do for yourself, or put a list in your bag and look in that list when it's time to go. Last tip is use resources you trust. So there might be lots of YouTubers you really like, but you're not necessarily the same as them. You have a different personality, you have a different lifestyle, you live in a different place. So just use resources that you can trust to be reliable for you. So maybe one of your friends is a little more fancy than you. Maybe you can take some of that advice and then the rest of the advice kind of be like, okay, that's not really me. Or maybe your friend is super low maintenance. So maybe you want to up their advice and bring a little more than they brought, but still know that that's the bare minimum or the basics that you need. So just use resources that you trust and you love, and then you'll be set. Okay, my final thing is, unless something happens at your birth really traumatic or really abnormal, you will likely be in the hospital for like a maximum of 3 days. Anybody can survive 3 days without a bag. You could have nothing and you'll survive. The hospital has your basic necessities like a bed, water, food. So anyone can survive 3 days without a nursing bra, without certain clothes. You're gonna be okay. And people have done it before because they've gone into labor by surprise, or they've just had to rush to the hospital. Don't stress too much about this hospital bag. Usually your husband or spouse or whoever can leave and come back, or people can bring stuff to you if you need. And there's likely people that are going to want to visit you and your baby, so that might be an opportunity to get stuff if you're really needing something. But it's such a short trip, anyone can make do with 3 days, and that's kind of your initiation into motherhood. If this is your first baby and you forget a bunch of stuff, like, welcome to the club. You're probably going to do that with your diaper bag and forget wipes or forget a diaper, or, well, don't forget your kid, but welcome to the club. Just try to enjoy your time. It's a cool experience to have a labor and delivery and to just become a mother, and just try to cherish it, even if it's hard or doesn't go the way you planned. You're going to look back on this day and you're going to think about it, and maybe you'll have advice for a different mom when the time comes. So I hope this helps you pack your hospital bag. Thank you for tuning in to this video, and congratulations on your pregnancy, and I hope to see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe if this was enjoyable to you, and I hope this was a blessing. Bye.